All right, we are live right now with Nathan Hirsch. My name is Patrick Lawrenson, and I'm the founder um, of lead generation for entrepreneurs. And I help companies and individuals, either if you have a company or if you're starting a company or thinking about it, to get leads for your company. That's what I do. And on this call, I have Nathan Hirsch. I'm super excited to have this guy on the call. He has done $25 million in sales and Amazon dropshipping. For me, mind blowing. That's just amazing. Kudos, like awesome. And then he started this outsourcing company as well. We're working with both US staff and with Filipino staff, I think, and a ton
To
of.
clarify, we're a marketplace, not a company.
All right. True.
Yes. Marketplace, not an outsourcing company.
Yep. So awesome to have you here. We're going to talk about outsourcing. We're going to talk about how in the world did you do that whole thing, Amazon thing. And if you want to get started with that, how do you do that? And then we're going to talk about lead generation, because I know that's something that you really double down on right now with your company. So Nathan, for the people that haven't met you yet, haven't heard about you yet, give them a brief intro.
Cool. Just finished sharing to all my pages. So I'm a longtime entrepreneur. I started back in 2008, back when Amazon was just a baby, becoming more than a bookstore. I actually started off buying and selling textbooks out of my college dorm room. Grew that business, created a little referral program. From there, I tried experimenting with different products on Amazon. I mean, I didn't have a warehouse. I didn't have more than a few $1,000s in my bank account. So I actually came up with the concept of drop shipping years before I knew it was even called drop shipping. And I started experimenting and seeing what products I could sell and what worked and what didn't work. And I finally found some success in the baby product industry. So
wow.
I started selling tons and tons of baby products, getting very weird looks from all the college kids around me.
Because you didn't have any babies, but yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I grew that thing and quickly realized how hard it was to hire people. I mean, I was in college kids, their number one priority was school, and rightfully so. So yeah. I struggled with hiring, eventually found the remote hiring space, the Upworks, the Fivers, and I just wanted a better, faster way. So after years of looking, I finally built my own platform, FreeeUp, where we get thousands of applicants every week, virtual assistants, freelancers, agencies from all over the world. Vet them, take the top 1%, let them in, make them available to people quickly whenever they need them, with 24/7 support and a no turnover guarantee. So that's kind of the short version of how I went from a broke college kid to starting two companies.
Yeah, that's cool. How did you, like, I'm just thinking about like baby products, like you're a student. Like, how did you find that? And what made you start? Like, even, so let's start with that. Like, what made you start? Like, why did you want to do this? Like, you're a student. So many people go to university, whatever it is, but they just keep studying. But what was your driver like?
Yeah, great question. My parents were both teachers growing up, and we were never broke or poor, but we were never really well off either. And my parents always made me get these summer jobs. From when I was 15 on, I was working 40, 50 hours a week while all my friends were outside playing and enjoying their summers. And during this time, yes, I learned a lot about sales and customer service and managing people, but I also realized how much I just hated working for other people. And I kind of got a glimpse into the life after college. So when I got to college, I kind of looked at it as a ticking clock. I had 4 years to figure it out and how to start a business, or else I was going to get thrown into the real world, have to get a job to pay rent and pay the bills, and it was going to be tough to get out. So that's why when I got to college, I really just started hustling and experimenting. I didn't really know what path it would lead me down. Never in a million years did I think I would end up starting a 20 million plus business on Amazon. But that's really how I started. And in terms of baby products, I mean, that was just what ended up working. I tried everything. I tried sporting equipment, DVDs, computer games. I tried home goods. And for whatever reason, once I started getting into baby products, that's when the sales started coming. That's where the money came in, and I kind of realized it was working. So I doubled down on that. And for me, it was a lot of research. I would see what products were already on Amazon, because I wasn't really creating my own listings. That wasn't as big of a thing back then as it was now. You were really going by Amazon's catalog.
Yeah.
And so I would eventually go to the distributors and then eventually go around them and contact the brands directly and build a relationship with the manufacturers. So it was a ton of trial and error. There wasn't really any directions for me to follow.
It's like really from scratch.
Yeah.
And it was a big difference from what it is now, like how drop shipping has changed. Like many people are new in the game, it's like, 2-3 years, whatever it is. You're like old school.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more software, there's a lot more courses and direction and suppliers that are built for drop shipping. I mean, back then I was convincing manufacturers that Amazon was a good place to sell. They didn't know what Amazon was. So it was a much different environment than it is now.
Yeah. What would you recommend, like someone starting out? Like, cause I know, I mean, you didn't start with selling, $25 million, but like, right. Where did you start out? Like, and what would you recommend, like someone today, what would you recommend that they would do if they want to start selling with Amazon?
So there are so many courses and gurus and free content and paid content, and those are great. And I wish that they had those back in the day. For me, I use those to tell me what to avoid going down a path that I don't want to go to. But at the same time, you don't want to follow the status quo. If all 50,000 people are all doing the exact same thing, in my opinion, it can be tough to find success. So for me, I use that information to help me, but I also don't lose track of the low risk, the high reward situations, the experimenting, the trial and error, the finding my own path, and very similar to starting FreeeUp. I mean, no one taught me how to build a freelancer marketplace. At least I haven't found a course on that yet.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of courses on how to market, how to do lead generation, how to avoid certain mistakes when you're running a startup business, and that's valuable information. But don't lose track of the experimenting and the trial and error on your side. Yeah.
So many people specifically with Amazon, they start saying, the opportunity is gone, it's lost, it's no more, drop shipping is out. Like, what do you say about that? Like, that's been in the game with Amazon for so long. Like, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I work with a ton of clients that do all different sorts of business models on Amazon, off Amazon, drop shipping, wholesale, private label. So it's not dead. Dead means that no one can make money out of it.
Yeah.
Is it harder to get into than it was back in 2008? Of course. Is it a much more crowded playing field? Yes. Is Amazon becoming harder and harder just with their rules and changes and everything going on there? Of course. But there's also so many more resources than there were back then. I mean, we work with a lot of partners like Seller Labs and Helium 10 that have great tools that I could only wish I had back in the day. So there are certain things that are harder, but there's also certain things that are easier and better and reduce risk along the way. So probably the time of getting a multi-million-dollar company up and running in a few months might be harder, and that opportunity might be very small or gone.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of opportunity on Amazon if you do things the right way and you work hard. I mean, at the end of the day, there's no substitute for that hustle, that hard work, in my opinion.
Yeah. How does that, like, getting from that place, starting out, being a student, like, how did that look like? What are some lessons that you learned along the way? Like how do you deal with your day and scheduling and being a doer?
Time management was a big thing. I mean, you got your social life, you got your school, you've got obviously running a business, and then random stuff that comes up, whether it's family or girlfriends or whatever it is. So for me, I would try to figure out where in my day I can fit in the business. And your life kind of always revolves around your job in some sense, and I almost treated it that way as well. I mean, if I had class at 9 o'clock in the morning, well, I was getting up at 6, and from 6 to 8:30 or 6 to 9, that was my business time. I would go to class, and then I would come back and check on the business again. And when I would hire people, I would really hire people around my college class schedule, and every semester we would have to change the schedule a little bit. And I think a lot of people actually lose sight on that. And this is a good lesson. They hire people based on that person's schedule when really you should be hiring people based on your schedule as the entrepreneur, as the owner of the company.
That's a good one. So, like, have you found any ways of time management or models you're using, or just like, do you go up early? How does a day look like for you?
Oh man, if I showed you my Google Calendar right now, it's crazy. I'm booked every 30 minutes through next Thursday.
Yeah.
So for me, Google Calendar now is king. I don't think I used it back in the day. I think in college we all had those notebooks that had a schedule and you would write it out. But for me, I know you've seen my Calendly app. That was one of my best add-ons. I even have that on the website if people want to book a call with me. And everything is meticulously planned out. And I block off certain times. I'm a morning person from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. is my time. That's when I can get my team organized. I can get caught up from anything that happened from when I signed off the day before. I got some time to work on some projects and set some plans for the week or for the day. And then my schedule is usually packed out from podcast to client and partner calls to networking calls to sometimes I'll block off calls for different team meetings or partner meetings with my business partner, Connor. And then at 4:30 every day, I go to the gym for an hour. And usually my nights, I don't book anything. If I get a great opportunity to go on a YouTube channel like I have tonight or a podcast, I'll obviously open it up for those opportunities. But I try to keep the night reserved for the girlfriend, so to speak.
Yeah. That's good. Makes sense. So, how do you do you use any tools today? Like something I use with my team, just the structure is Trello, and I started more and more just implementing. I don't know if you're familiar with Pomodoro.
I'm familiar with Pomodoro.
So you work 25 minutes, and then you have like 5 minutes break, and then work 5 minutes break, and you do that like into like 6 sessions, and then you get 20 minutes break, and it's sort of breaking up the the whole process of working, because you got your brain gets mushed if you 1 hour, 2 hours just sitting, right? So it's kind of one way of just like, okay, let's get as much done as we possibly can in 1 hour. I was just wondering, do you have any type of system you're working with, or what tools are you using for like people out there starting out?
I have to say that sounds fantastic. That's why I love doing these things.
Yeah.
You never know what little nugget you're gonna learn that you can apply to your own business. I use Skype religiously. I'm on it all the time. I have group chats with all my team, my main group chat with everyone, my billing team, my customer service team, and so I'm very involved there. I use Trello. Trello has a lot of great qualities. I feel like every time you think you know Trello, that there's more stuff to learn. And I use that to organize short-term, long-term, and day-to-day projects. For my developers, we use a program called Jira. It might be pronounced Gyra, but I think
Yep.
And that's great for reporting bugs and making sure feedback and new ideas get organized and prioritized. For communication, you've got email, Viber, WhatsApp, phone calls, stuff like that. But I like to keep it basic. I mean, I have clients that use Asana and Slack and all these different project management stuff. But my point is that if I can run a 40-person remote team and freelancers too, with just using those basic free softwares, other people can do that as well. And that's a real message I want to get across. I feel like people sometimes overcomplicate managing remote teams.
Yeah. Like, that's super interesting. So I'm kind of in this space right now. So I have one guy I'm working with right now. I want to, expand that to, the dream would be like in, 12 months, 24 months, we can have like staff of maybe 10, maybe I'm dreaming even like, 20 people. And, that would be outsourcing, obviously not in Sweden, but have that team. And because I use Trello, so for everyone that's using Trello, like for managing, was it 40 people? Like how many boards do you have? Like how do you structure the board? Like just give a couple examples.
Yeah, good question. I have my own board, which is just me. It's usually projects and stuff that's on the CEO level, and then each of my teams have their own board. To be honest, the accounting team and the freelancer success team, they do a great job of running themselves. The people that run those teams have worked with me for 7+ years. So I have access to those boards, but I'm not in there every day. My assistants, the ones that fill tickets and do customer service and handle a lot of tasks under me, that's the board I have access to. So it's really 2 main boards that I'm working with, but there's a few other ones that other teams use. But that stuff really I'm not as involved in.
Okay, cool. So out of the team that you have today, because I've like obviously FreeeUp, it's a software to be able to find staff in the US and outside of the US. And I'm based in Stockholm, Sweden, beautiful Stockholm, up with here. And I think it's a big deal. Like I could hire someone here, and I could hire 8 to 10 qualified people in the Philippines doing the same thing for the same price as I would in Sweden. Like how does your, like, out of the 40, how many are from the US? How many are from all over the world?
Yeah, I actually made a Facebook post about this the other day. Oh, nice, I found it. I'm going to post it right underneath. So all my day-to-day operations are outsourced to the Philippines, and that's about 30 people right there. And all my higher level tasks, those are either US or other places. I mean, I only hire from the FreeeUp platform. So all the VAs I found there, all the higher level people that run my Facebook ads, that write for the blog, that run my Instagram, run my Twitter, they're all agencies and freelancers on the platform that lots of other clients use as well, and other people can use them. If someone says, hey, introduce me to the person that runs your Twitter, I'm happy to do it. They don't really work for me, they're freelancing. So I am in a situation where I like to practice what I preach as much as possible. And one of the things that I preach is obviously the FreeeUp platform, and I'm only hiring people from there.
Yeah, so like one of the things is, like, especially with outsourcing, because I mean, obviously that's how we got connected as well. As I'm really, for me, it's a big deal. Like, if you really want to grow your business, I think you need to start outsourcing sooner rather than later. Like, even I think one of the things, like investing, marketing, obviously right now, Facebook ads, that's a huge, for me, that's a big deal, like even for clients. But then a second part is, like, even the content creation. I mean, this kind of content, even cutting up this, creating a podcast out of this, or cutting up in smaller videos, whatever, audio clips, etc. Like, that is stuff that takes a lot of time, but someone else, can do it way better. So, like, one thing that I've heard from some guys, that's already, starting, to outsource in these things, is like, to get a dedicated person from scratch. Like, not to have a person that's, works for you and then 10 others, freelancer. What do you say about that, like, with your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of disagree with that, which is fine. There are plenty of people that disagree with me that are way more successful than I am. But for me, the gig economy is just so beautiful because you get that flexibility. You don't have to hire everyone full time. And if you're in a position where you need that and you think it's great, you always can hire someone full time. But I don't need my Facebook ad expert only working for me. I don't spend that much on Facebook ads. We have a lot of other ways that we get clients. So for me personally, that doesn't make sense. Maybe a year from now it does. And there are other roles where, of course, it makes sense. My customer service rep, I don't force them to be exclusive to me. I would never do that to any freelancer. But for 40, 50 hours a week, they're mine. And if they want to take on side projects inside or outside FreeeUp, that's totally fine, as long as it doesn't interfere with their job with me in any way, shape, or form. So for me to say that you have to hire every single person full-time, exclusive to you, and that's the best way to grow your business, I just disagree with that based on my experience.
Yeah, okay. So just taking it back a step, I'm just curious, like, because obviously you've grown your business from, there's more than just the Amazon, right? What are the other projects that you're involved in? FreeeUp, obviously. Is there anything else that you're doing, and how do you kind of like what's your vision long term, like 5 years, 10 years from now?
Right. So right now, FreeeUp is 100% of my focus. I could not be more excited on the growth, the awesome people that we work with, the clients, the partners, the freelancers on the platform. So for me, I focus on that, and I'm curious to see how far we can push this thing with no office and no U.S. employees and everything outsourced and hired from the platform and scaling remote and having my calendar at the top of the website as the CEO of the company. I want to see how far we can push this thing. So that is my focus. In terms of long term, I'm a very short term thinker. I tend to not worry about what's going to happen in 5 to 10 years. I mean, if you had asked me when I got to college if I'd be selling millions of dollars of baby products in the next few years, I wouldn't have believed it. If you had asked me 5 years ago if I'd be running a freelancer marketplace competing with Fiverr and Upwork, I wouldn't believe you either. So
Ariel.
in the next 5 years, I mean, FreeeUp could continue to grow. It could be the freelance space could disappear, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that I can't control. So for me, I'm much more focused on this year, on this quarter, what I can do to make FreeeUp better and better and better. And I'm sure over the course, hopefully I live to be 100, and there are other opportunities and other projects that I'm passionate about will come up and things will change. But for now, my focus is 100% on FreeeUp.
Yeah, that's cool. And like, I think it's interesting that you, on top of your page, you can book a meeting with the CEO. Like, I don't know, like, you know, size-wise you're at right now, but like, that's just like, I mean, eventually it's going to be like, okay, you only have so much time, right? But like, I'm super interested. So, and the people that are watching, like, lead generation, like, how do you get leads? You have a business. How do you do it? Like, what channels? What do you recommend? What's the best? Because I know your schedule is booked.
Yeah, I mean, I never want to make anyone feel like I don't have time for them. If someone contacts me and I'm busy, I'm going to say, hey, listen, I'm going to get back to you at 5 p.m. and then I'm going to honor my word. And I think sometimes people miss that when it comes to lead generation is, okay, you can get someone on the phone. Okay, you can reach out to someone, but how easy is it for them to actually contact you? And that's why I have my calendar on a notepad right here that I can constantly book and give to people. If I'm talking to a higher level influencer or partner and they don't want to use my calendar, I'll say, hey, send me yours. I want to make it as easy as possible to connect with you. And I think that's something that sometimes gets lost sight of in the lead generation process. We're so used to attacking and going after leads when people don't realize that you've got that whole funnel, right? And the funnel that leads to the sale. And somewhere along that funnel is how easy is it for them to actually get an appointment with you. And if they have to jump through the hoops to do it, or it's not clear, or you have to the worst thing is you have to send them 3 times that work for you, and then they have to send you another 2 that work for them. And
hate that, yeah.
Like, to me, that's nonsense. There's a much more efficient, better way to do it, and I think a lot of people lose sight of that when it comes to lead generation.
Yeah, so like, even, you know, you talk about the funnel, right? So you have the top of the funnel is like you're getting the leads in. And traditionally that, you know, booking calls, prospecting, I think it's going to happen, at least here in Europe, is there's a law that's coming in. I think it's next year now. We already had the GDPR, which was a huge change. Then there's going to be one that's going to affect cold calling. So I had one of the biggest booking firms here in Stockholm, a friend of mine. He gave me a call a while back and said, Patrick, we need to do something. Like what we need to complement our, you know, booking calls with digital somehow. And I, you know, that's sort of the old, you know, sort of traditional. It still works, obviously, but there's a ton of changes that's coming, and people get more and more, like, you get calls from India, even from, you know, the routing calls from, you know, your state and then your region, and it comes through, and it's like, oh, you know, selling stocks from India or whatever it is. But like, on the top of the funnel, what do you do? Like, do you do Facebook ads? Do you connect with people on LinkedIn? Like, what's the details?
I always say hashtag be everywhere. I try to experiment with lots of different things. We still do cold emails that are not salesy, that try to connect with people, and I've gotten some of my best clients, best partners that way. We'll run Facebook ads. We'll send tweets out to different podcasts that we want to be on. For me, it's a lot of trial and error, and it's a lot of tweaking. And for me, it's more about the attitude. If you can get in the right mindset that where, yes, you're providing an awesome service, but you're not the right fit for everyone, and that you can kind of clearly display what your story is, why you're even reaching out to them to begin with, in a non-pushy, very authentic way to try to set up a call or make a connection or just network. Sometimes I'll meet with people and there's no agenda whatsoever, and maybe I can help them, but they can't help me, or the next person I talk to, it's the other way around. And that didn't come naturally. I know if you talked to me maybe 3 years ago, I was probably a slightly more aggressive salesperson.
Yeah.
But I've kind of found that if you focus on building a relationship and networking and getting on the phone with someone without this hardcore agenda that I'm going to sell you a $5,000 package, to me, those end up being the best leads.
Yeah. And do you do any, that's awesome. So do you do any type of Facebook ads today at all?
We do Facebook ads. We not nothing crazy. We spend about $1,000 or $1,500 a month on Facebook ads.
And what is the return you're getting on that? Like, are you getting any as of today?
Yeah, we get signups all the time. I kind of have an interesting business because it's not an e-commerce store that someone checks out. It's not a $5,000 package. It's free to sign up. There's no monthly fee. There's no minimums. There's no obligation. So someone might sign up and hire 5 people right away. They might sign up and then in a month hire someone or hear about us and then hear me on a podcast, or they hear about us for a second time and then they're ready to hire and they sign up. So it's not as easy to justify the ROI. We look at it more on it's just one method. I mean, doing Facebook Lives with you or being on podcasts, which has been a huge way to get in front of thousands of people at a time. We found it to really diversify and spread out. And when we see something that is working, you mentioned LinkedIn, which has been a great way for us to find leads. We put more time, we put more energy, we put more strategy and effort into it. And if something's not working that well, we'll kind of put it on pause and maybe we'll revisit it with a different strategy in the future.
Like, just in brief, for like people that are listening right now, or watching this or listening to this later, like, what would be your, if you say, okay, LinkedIn, what would be your top 3 strategies? Like, what do you need to do to connect with people? Like, how do you do it?
I post content that I think is hopefully not salesy and will actually help people regardless of whether they use my service or not. I comment on other people's content and make connections that way. I send a non-salesy message to anyone that I connect with, and every day I do a little bit of research and find different people that I think are in the same space that would be a good connection, and I reach out to them. So for me, it's less about this bulk thing that you're going to sit for 8 hours and just crush LinkedIn, and it's a checklist that me and my team go through every day where it's, okay, let's do our LinkedIn work, okay, let's do our Twitter, okay, let's do our Instagram. And for me, that's how you slowly spread out there and make some unbelievable connections.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. You said, like what you said, commenting, because like what I've seen, and I had a, I just like, Gary Vaynerchuk, the whole thing with, jab, 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 right hook, right? So basically give, and then when you have that relationship, hey, I have this book coming out, or I have this product, you might be interested in that, and there's a relationship rather. And I have had a number of people on LinkedIn just by going in commenting, like not just like, hey, awesome, fantastic, cool, but like actually adding some value, some thought into it. And I've had people connect with me that's like, I'm like, before, so I even had this experiment, I want to connect with this person, like an influencer here in Europe, business. And then it's like, okay, and I did. So now we're connected and, we chat, and I think eventually, I want to have him on a Facebook Live or podcast. So, I think that's a really cool way of doing it. And I think it's like, it's easier than people think in general. Just like, give value.
It's time management. I mean, one of the best things I did was I came up with a daily checklist. It's LinkedIn, it's Twitter, it's Instagram, and once a day I go through it. And I'll even set reminders in my calendar. I tried to figure out like the best time to post on LinkedIn, or the best time to send a tweet. And again, it's experimenting and then it's finalizing. And I kind of turn every process into a 3-month process. It's 3 months, and then I try to pass it off to someone else unless it's a really personal thing. The first month, you're completely experimenting. You're seeing what works, what doesn't. Second month, you have a pretty good idea of what doesn't work, and you're fine-tuning what works. And then by month 3, you've got a process, and you're just going to do it over and over again and work out those last kinks before you either solidify it in stone as a daily task for you or pass it off to someone else.
I love that. That's great. I love that. I love this concept of experimenting. You start with this and see what works, and then you can, you build a process of it, and then you can pass it over, or you can, keep doing it, but in a more structured way. That's awesome. So just to, time passes super quickly. Just to wrap it up, what would be your like one advice to someone starting totally new? Like, I don't know where to start. Maybe they have a business today, but they haven't gone online really, or someone that wants to start a business online.
Yeah, it's tough for me to give generic advice. I mean, starting a business is still hard. I mean, most businesses fail in the first 5 years. Those are the facts. But the persistency is so key. I mean, I was on The Amazing Seller, a great Amazon podcast. I was on it for the 3rd time yesterday. And For the first 2 years of FreeeUp, Scott, who's a great guy, rejected me who knows how many times, 10 times, 15 times, and every time he rejected me, I wasn't aggressive or upset or angry. I said, I totally understand. Is it okay if I follow up with you again in X months? And I sent him a video of me, and I gave him content of why I thought it would be a good fit. And now I've been on his podcast a while, but it took years to get that relationship. Not everything is instant. And I think a lot of people lose sight on that rejection is good. If you're not getting rejected constantly every single week, I get rejected all the time.
Yeah.
Then you're not putting yourself out there enough. Your lead generation is not reaching enough people. You got to continue to get rejected, and eventually opportunities will come up. And when those opportunities do come up, you got to jump on them. I know the podcast Entrepreneur on Fire, which I'm sure you've heard of. I couldn't get on it. I was a new person in the podcast industry, and they had a last minute cancellation. And I had plans. I canceled those plans. I ran back. I got on. I was nervous out of my mind. I had no idea what I was getting into. Probably wasn't my best podcast, but when those opportunities do come up, and they will, you gotta take advantage of it.
That's awesome. How did you, just a short follow-up on that, like to get on these podcasts or Facebook Lives or interviews, like how do you do that? Like, how did you do it briefly?
I build relationships. I pitch people. Now I hire some services, although I don't only use those services. We still do lead generation. I'll tweet at people. I mean, there's no one way where it's like, this is the top secret strategy to get on podcasts. It's a lot of different things. And part of it is just luck. I mean, someone might be booked for the next 8 months and get an opening. Someone might miss your tweet or might decide to open your email. I had someone on LinkedIn who said, I never respond to LinkedIn messages, but yours caught my eye and I thought it was interesting. And we had a great phone call and we're going to collaborate on some different things. So you got to just keep putting yourself out there. There's no, this is the way. Yeah,
that's awesome. I like that. And I think it's just like, just doing it, keep doing it, and then refining whatever you need to do. And like you said, create a process out of that and just keep doing it. Keep doing it. I think it's easy to get discouraged and just like, it's too much, right? But just keep doing it. Hey, Nathan, I think you're a great inspiration. I think it's amazing what you've done with Amazon and what you're doing now as well. And how can people get in contact with you, to connect with you?
Yeah, so check out the FreeeUp blog, the FreeeUp YouTube channel, and our Facebook group. If you go to freeup.com, my calendar is right at the top. If you want to book a meeting with me, create a free account. You can put in a request and hire people within a business day, usually faster. And I look forward to taking care of you and your business and your entire community going forward.
Awesome. I'll put a link as well in the description as well to your site so they can connect with you. Awesome.
We should do it again sometime.
Yeah, I think so. Awesome. I like it. Time flies by quickly. And hey guys, thank you so much for watching or listening to this. And I'm super excited just to share this journey with you, sharing some of the experts and different fields to be able to help you to really excel your business. Either if you're starting out or you've been going for a while, but you feel you're stuck. Hey, we're here to help. And join my group as well if you haven't done that yet. It's a lead generation for entrepreneurs, and we'll be able to connect more there as well. Awesome. Thank you so much, Nathan. And I wish you all an amazing day, and let's go for your dreams. Ciao.